So anyway, Talisman playing as the Soviets, south side of Crossroads.
I love Crossroads.
We've got here Soviet industry tactics. Great, love to see that in a 1v1. That'd be amazing. Guard motor, of course, standard one. Armored assault, which we saw before. We'd probably expect to see that picked fairly quickly. Although he's going for a conscript build, which makes me kind of believe Soviet industry or armored assault is on the cards there. Devm, mechanized assault doctrine, of course. Tiger, Stuk ease, we love it. Mobile defense in case you need it. And lightning war. Lightning war, my favorite austere commander.
Me too.
Yeah, just one of the most fun things to use. I mean, when you get to that late game and you got the planes rolling in and the Tigers driving in and everything is just so cool about that doctrine. G43s as well. Phenomenal.
Even tactical support, it can make a big difference between landing a Faust or even the Pigrens getting the last volley off of Shreks. It's also, you don't expect it. You always think...
Do you know what, actually, I used it in that game I played against you. You know, the one that was casted. I used it to get around your Maxim.
Yeah,
and do you know what? It's probably the first time I've ever used tactical support properly. But it really worked, do you know what I mean? It kind of, like, got some good field advantages there, so...
I love seeing Soviet players con-spam. Such an aggressive playstyle that you really have to micro. I think conscripts are the hardest units to blob with compared to other factions and mainline infantry, because they don't have any upgrades. So you don't have that max range attack move LMG playstyle. They're not really good at wiping things either, so it's a lot more tactical than what some of the other factions can be. Sniper very early on here, actually maybe not a good choice. Conspam is a very good counter to the sniper. Because you use the Ura, you have a pretty good damage against it. That being said, the Grenadiers are going to be zoning away the conscripts, but even with the sniper picking away, the conscripts may win this fight.
Devm stayed in that engagement for a long time, and not that I disagree with his decision to retreat when he did. However, it's going to force him into getting a medical bunker up maybe a little bit sooner than he would have wanted, because that is going to be a low health squad, even with the reinforce. Typical of Devm to go for the sniper. I wonder if that's part of the reason why Talisman has gone for 4 conscripts. 4 conscripts is a build that used to be heavily associated with armored assault. And again, I think that could still be a possibility. Really depends on what we see from Devm. But we have 2 players here that are probably going to be playing with some call-ins and heavy on the infantry. May even see 4 Grens come out. But I'm not sure, but...
This is a very open map, and there's a lot of flanking opportunities. So we definitely could see some very wide flanks from the conscripts. See where the sniper is now. If there's a single squad of cons that Ura along the side, that sniper has to be very careful. Once again, the Grenadier is going to be outnumbered here by the conscripts, and very late retreat. One of the typical Devm maneuvers is the very late retreats, which seem to actually work.
Do you know what? I really wish, and we see this from players all the time. You know, I actually get the feeling if Talisman had just stopped his squad then and let them take shots, you know, they're a little more accurate when they're standing still. When you're running, you don't have that same accuracy. So you can actually have more chances, I think they calculated, of squad wiping when you're standing still rather than... And actually, I think Desper did something on that, didn't he?
No, it was Tightrope. Tightrope did it.
Was it Tightrope?
Yeah, it was one of his tips and tricks videos.
Yeah, and this is the thing, like, especially against a player like Devm, who is going to be retreating late with basically no health. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just getting by on one limb, basically. You know, it's a great thing to do to actually just hit S on your keyboard and let your squad get some high accuracy pop shots off. And I think they may have had a chance of taking that squad whilst it was retreating in red cover.
Yeah, so long as it's bolt action rifles, it's very important that you obviously want to be chasing. If you have Stern Pioneers, or if you have bars that have good fire on the move accuracy, or they have a very drastic drop-off in terms of the damage. But for bolt-action rifles, which is basically all of your frontline infantry, apart from rifles, then standing still seems to be the better choice, unless there's a shot blocker that prevents you from getting that one off. Sniper's taking a bit of damage, so it is vulnerable to getting one hit by a mortar. It's also just more vulnerable to cons killing that one. So if you can wound the sniper, then it's very hard to play aggressively with the sniper if you have to be careful or get it back getting flanked or getting one shot by a mortar. We actually had a demo on the field point that got detonated by the Pioneers with the sweeper.
on the fuel point. Oh, so it was a very early one, actually.
Yeah. Don't expect it a lot of the times.
Not at all.
One advantage of going cons instead of the penals is that you have more munitions. Since you're not going for the flamers, you're not going for the DPs on the guards. Unless you go Molotovs, of course, but you don't normally see that early. Though we do actually have the AT grenades. So Talisman expecting there to be a 2-2-2, which is a very sensible prediction. It's a very common unit, especially on a map this open. It's very strong.
This is what always surprises me is Devm's ability to kind of command the battlefield, even though he's using single squads kind of on his own against the allies. This is normally somewhere where allies would have an advantage, but he's using it really well and kind of making sure that those conscripts are never in one position where they can orchestrate a devastating flank or even just get a line on the sniper. So I really like that Devm is still keeping his units spread out. He's still microing engagements very well, aside from the late retreats. You know, he's managing to really make things difficult for Talisman. And, you know, it's been a while now, actually, since Talisman has built a unit, and I'm wondering where this has gone. He's actually gone quite quick into Tier 3. So we're going to see, I believe, the T-70 pop out quite fast.
You went medics, AT grenades, and Tier 3. So a lot of tech investments there with only 5 squads. I love how Devm, as you say, he's keeping the sniper very safe. It's pretty much always escorted by a squad of grenadiers, which prevents the cons from just ooh-rahing in. So Talisman, he has to play a bit more cautiously around that, and as a result, pretty good manpower bleed. 15 models down already. That's 300 manpower. That's more than a conscript squad.
Yes, it's certainly going to be paying for itself. 15 kills in 7 minutes is over the 2 per minute you normally see come into effect at around 20 minutes. So, you know, whenever I always see like a lot of high players play, normally around 20, do you know what I mean? Like 15 to 20 minutes, you start seeing that double has come in. To have that early on in the game, and as you say, like with all of the teching that Talisman has done, I don't know why Talisman has done all of that, because he's done it kind of preemptively of a light vehicle rush. From Devm, and of course Devm hasn't taken that bait. He's gone heavy on infantry, and he hasn't gone for the light vehicle at all. So those AT nades are already pretty void. Hasn't had any chances to use the Molotovs really, because there's just not that many support weapons on the field.
He hasn't unlocked the Molotovs though.
He hasn't.
It's just AT grenades.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
it's just
I said he went
grenades,
medics,
yeah.
AT grenades, and Tier 3.
Ah, okay. So I mean, it's still to the same. You know, they're not needed at that point. They could still be efficiently upgraded when he sees that vehicle come on the field. I wonder if he'd be better off with another squad.
Well, it has a T-70 on the way, so already having that T-70. I love how Talisman, he had the timing down pat. He had about 10 fuel, which is still pretty good. Much better than what we've seen today, where we've seen 70 fuel, 80 fuel, or the 17-minute T-70 last game. So having that T-70 out ASAP, very, very powerful. Will be a pack on the way here for Devm. Already actually hit the field in a nice spot as well, in the middle of the map. Covers the flank of the MG. I love that, because you would expect the T-70 to go very aggressive after the MG. Try and cut it off on retreat. Oh, the Telemine! What? Barely survives that one. Going after the pack. He may back over it now, though. Oh, wow. And there's a flamer there as well, so there's no sweeper.
Yeah, I mean, this is could be a bit of a breaking moment in this game. Is he going to miss it by a skin again?
Oh, no.
I
can't watch Stormless. Oh, dear.
He's discovered it.
Watch the sweeper. The sweeper popped, and the T-70 is, oh lordy. I survived that one. Gets hit by the pack though, but he should be fine. He pops the repair just in case, but didn't get hit.
Talisman has any idea how lucky he was then. He must be thinking, like, how close was I to that? Very, very unfortunate, but you know, great idea from Devm. That nearly became an excellent play. But equally, Talisman, you know, with the game knowledge to realize that he should have a minesweeper on the field, and that really did just save him a pretty crushing blow.
Vet 2 on the sniper though, so it has been doing a lot of damage, but snipers have always been the case of very good manpower, bleed, but not necessarily always territory. Not good for being aggressive with. As a result, Devm goes for the mobile defense, calling in that Puma. T70 is very aggressive on the right side, forcing away the MG, the Pioneers. So Talisman has great control of the map. Maybe a little bit too deep with his T70 here, as the Puma will show up, and the pack as well on the side. This T70 will go down.
Yeah, nice, very quick choice there of the mobile defense straight into the Puma. And again, like, you know, it didn't really feel like Devm has been on such a point in this game where it was like a reactionary mobile defense. I think he's actually genuinely picked it because he feels it gives him an advantage. I like to see that, actually.
Well, he has no fuel.
Yeah,
he needed
but he hasn't had the worst map control that would normally require this commander to be selected. But it was a good match for the T70. You know, he's already got the AT gun, so I didn't really feel like it's necessary when he could just dominate one part of the map. But I think because he's spreading out so much, maybe it's effective for him.
The other great thing about these AT grenades is the Puma's going to have a harder time being effective. Even the T70, it was an unfortunate timing that he went for such an aggressive play, where normally if there were cons anywhere nearby the T70, the Puma couldn't go in aggressively. But despite losing that T70, Talisman's in a fantastic spot. He has his armored assault, so he's going to have access to the T34-85, which we'll probably see him go for. Double fuel especially. Could even lose the Puma here. Plenty munitions. There's going to be no shortage of the AT grenades. There's nothing nearby to defend. There's just a Pioneer squad. Another squad there looking for the AT grenade. He pops the smoke. He can just dive through the smoke. Oh no, he doesn't. He would have got suppressed by the base bunker, but he probably would have got the AT grenade off anyway.
Yeah, it was a good use of the smoke, actually. Of course, he would have had bunker protection, so yeah, good play there from Devm. Nearly lost it though.
Got to be careful with the half health squads with that snipers nearby. When it has the incendiary, like now for example, if he loses one more, this could be a wipe. If the Greens get the kill, then the incendiary will get the follow up. No, he survives this one, but pretty good unit preservation from Devm. Hasn't lost any squads yet either, so he has no territory, but he still has a lot of resources. Doesn't actually have any LMGs though, which is strange. He has 240 munitions, and yet no Grens have the LMGs. I guess it doesn't suit his playstyle. Devm's such an aggressive player. The LMGs can't fire on the move. They're pretty bad at close range. So I guess he just wants to keep the Grens with those LMGs, but without the LMGs. But the thing is with the Grenadiers is their veterancy is actually really bad compared to conscripts. Conscripts at Vet 3, it's such a massive boost. And it evens out because the fact that Grenadiers have the LMG, where cons do not. But if you have Vet 3 vanilla Grens versus Vet 3 conscripts, it is not a fair fight.
Yeah, it's an interesting one though. Like, you say about the LMGs. I don't think I've really seen any of Devm's units standing still for long enough that an LMG would actually set up and be effective. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. This is why I was hoping, though, we would see something like Lightning War, because I've always felt like Lightning War would be such a complementary commander to Devm. You know, the G43s with his kind of
and the sprinting as well, yeah.
Oh, you know, could
I'd
be
love to see that.
Beautiful. It is right up his street, but no, prefer the mobile defense. Clearly believes that the tier 3 from Soviets is too overpowering.
Still no tier 4 yet from Talisman, so maybe he will just go for the IS-2. He has plenty of choices here. He has the entire map, despite having no vehicles. Sniper in a bit of an iffy spot here. He should be fine though. Not a long retreat path, but he's actually just saving, trying to buy time for the MG to set up and start suppressing. But a nice Ura. He will flank the MG. Now he's even a worse spot for the retreat path. He has to retreat through the conscripts, but he can't commit to the sniper because the MG was setting up. So nice reposition of the MG. Actually saved the sniper there.
Yeah, I was surprised like that he didn't at least still try and take the sniper. I would have thought he may have had a chance of still getting that. But yeah, I mean, this is a really nice decap. The decap is great. Command Panzer IV just hits the field, and this is going to be pretty brutal against the conscript build. But fortunately, Talisman backing it up with 2 AT guns. Should be keeping it at bay. And just look at the VP at the moment, the VP lead. So Talisman is having a really, really good game, I still have to say.
Demo on the fuel point as well as the cutoff on the right side. There was actually a Gren squad over the Demo, but of course no vision there, no wipe. Yeah, so the Panzer IV, it's gonna be nice, but he has to be careful of the Zis guns, and only having the Puma and the command Panzer IV, it's gonna be a little bit difficult here, I think, especially with all this conscript. Moving in for the AT grenade now, should be able to kite away with the command P4, missing all these shots against the Zis gun. And we actually now have the LMGs on the Grens. It's nice to see.
Well, don't know if Devm actually managed to get out of that. The AT grenade does actually connect.
Whoops.
I think the Panzer IV was actually struggling to get through that part of the terrain. So there is definitely a chance these AT guns could close in. Fortunately, the engagement in the center went quite well, so Devm is allowed to pick off AT gun crew members with the sniper with no real threat at all.
45 kills on the sniper. It's basically Vet 3 at this stage. But still, the map control, it's not here for Devm, and he's holding on for now, but the moment Talisman pulls out the IS-2 or even a T-34, then I don't see this game going very well. Demo on the left field may go off on the Pyos. No, he sees it and he backs away. Even the Puma could get hit by the Demo. I don't know if it one-shots the Puma. It probably doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not confident on whether it would actually give a full destruct. But at least it's there, like, you know, I bet that's going to be quite prominent at some point during this game. Maybe even the sniper
Yeah.
could end up getting demoed. But I think, like, it's in a good spot. It hasn't been spotted by Devm, so, you know, it's very good bait potential there. I think he's actually trying to bait it now.
Oh, okay.
He may...
This is actually game number 2. Devm is one
Yeah,
game
yeah,
up.
there we go. Devm goes off, Sniper's dead.
Wow, you called it. Stormless,
Yeah,
he knows what's up.
You could... you could see that was going to happen, though. Like, that was a very, very good bait, to be honest, as well. Devm didn't clock onto that at all, which he should have done.
The sniper, I think, was the only thing keeping Devm in this game, and with that Vet 3 sniper down, I don't know what Devm has left. He has 3 Grens, and they have some good veterancy. They have LMGs as well. But this is really interesting. We actually have a fresh squad of conscripts, a Vet 0 squad late in the game. He may lose it to the LMG, but that Zisparad got a nice shot. I would have gone for a T-70 because he has the feel for it, and it wouldn't take away from the IS-2, and the fact that a T-70 costs less manpower than a squad of conscripts, which is actually crazy. I mean, it has to obviously be careful about the Puma and the pack, but you can use the T-70 very defensively. You just keep the T-70 within the range of one of the Zis guns, and then just prevent Grens from actually capping any points.
It could be a good unit. The other one as well, of course, it does keep the Puma occupied, bouncing left to right. So T-70, yeah, it could be a good choice. Do you think what do you think it's going to be? Do you think he's going to tier 4, or do you think he will just jump into the IS-2? Yeah.
If he was going to go tier 4, he would have done it a long time ago. It's way too late for him. He wouldn't have waited this long. He will definitely be IS-2. AT grenade will connect on that Panzer IV. A little bit delayed though by the models getting dropped. As for Devm, it'll probably just keep being Pumas at this stage, unless he has Battle Phase 2, which he doesn't. So he's just going to be a little bit stuck here, only just now getting a field point, but he won't hold it for very long.
I wouldn't say it looks completely stable for Talisman at this point. He's going to come on to quite a heavy late game pretty soon, which is very good for him. Devm probably has the pressure here. He's going to need another Puma, I think, 100%. I don't think he's going to survive with an AT gun and a Puma as his only real defense mechanism against that. Partly just because he's outnumbered in infantry. You know, I don't know if he's going to be able to swing that. That being said, though, he does retain very, very good control with what he has. Everything's quite high vet.
He rebuilds the sniper.
There's no real holes in his army, actually. I think it's just that Talisman has something bigger on the field, but nothing really to say that Devm won't or can't cope with this.
So IS-2 has arrived. Only one pack, and we may see a second pack come out. Maybe even Shrek's come out instead. One pack won't cut it. And looking for the Zisgun attack round over the hedge. There's no cons nearby, though, at least within range of the Puma. But he will get one off on the Panzer IV. IS-2 may get a couple of shots off from the pack. Actually, Grenadiers for a Faust. This could be deadly for the IS-2. He will barely get out of the range of that Grenadier squad, but that's... No, what? He's getting caught? Oh, man. No, he connects. The Faust connects here. Very bad opener for the IS-2.
And of course, as soon as that Faust comes off, AT gun moves into position, supported by the Puma. Vet 3 Grenadiers are going to be able to deal with that AT gun should it try and stop the Puma from getting involved here. But this is very good. Sniper trying to gain some sight here, maybe take some pot shots for the conscripts as they come in. Great support from the MG gun in that house. Look at that double suppression from that house. The range of that is excessive, but it's just absolutely beautiful pinning at long range there. IS-2 looks like he's struggling to get back to base, and I don't know if Devm's going to feel confident enough to push, but it looks like those vehicles are mobilizing. Could we get to see a play of the game here?
Maybe we will. That was such a catastrophic failure of a push there from Talisman. He's a lot of manpower bleed there. His IS-2 got caught. Oh man, it was such a great timing for him with the IS-2 with the damaged engine on the Panzer IV, but it just didn't go to plan at all. But very well played from Devm. Building a second pack now is incredibly smart. There are 2 engineers from Talisman, so he will have the extra repair speed, especially as they're almost both Vet 2. However, even Pigrins are being built. There's a lot of infantry squads being reinforced from Devm. Talisman did lose his Vet 0 conscripts. They're very squishy in the late game, conscripts, until they're Vet 3, in which case they get a massive received accuracy boost. I believe it's 0.6, which then it almost halves their received accuracy, which is insane. And so I just feel like the manpower bleed from the conscript squad may have been too much. He doesn't have any other tanks, despite having the fuel flow. The conscripts go down to the MG on retreat. This game is going horribly now for Talisman.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate.
Wow.
I actually thought like the sniper was going to get a combination of incendiary to that, but unfortunately, I don't actually know what got it in the end. It looked like it was infantry fire or something.
I think it was the MG from the house that got it. Yeah,
right.
Talisman, he could have had a T-34-85 by now, and that could have been used very aggressively, could have flanked out the Panzer IV, because Devm actually has a decent fuel income now, double fuel at the moment, so eventually he'll go for his Battle Phase 3 and pull out a Panther. Or maybe even just Stug for the IS-2. Still, only 150 VPs remain.
I think that's one of the weaknesses here for Devm, is that if he's not flexible, I think Talisman could still do something to counteract with it. Like maybe something like a Tier 4 and a Katusha. You know,
yeah, double packs might be worth it.
Yeah, so I think that comes down to, but Devm could probably just get away right now with what he's doing. You know, I think he's got the micro to make Pumas work for sure. Here we have another big engagement coming in at the moment. Double packs going for the IS-2. One of them is vetted, so we could see the target weak point. Also got Shrek upgrades on the Panzer Grenadiers, so this is a very, very dangerous situation for the IS-2 right now. AT guns do turn. Is he going to get target weak point?
He's still getting hit by the packs. Now he's backing over it, but he thinks he's looking for the conscripts. Nice Zis barrage, but the IS-2 is in a very vulnerable spot. Did he capture the pack gun? Either way, the IS-2 is crawling away. Shrek's on the chase. Will he lose it here? It'll all come down to the penetration. Bounces the Shrek for now. Oh, another bounce, but gets killed by the pack. With that IS-2 down, that's a big blow for Talisman, but he can afford to rebuild that. He has the fuel, and he has almost the manpower. Puma wasn't focused.
That has to be GG for Talisman.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely has to be GG. Now Devm's cleaning up the support weapons. The Talisman's going to need to recruit to stay in this game.
Oh,
Desperate
wow.
last attempt with the AT gun, but of course that goes down to a great push on the right side from the Panzer Grenadiers and Grenadiers together, and they again wiping all the support weapons. Talisman trying to cap the north side. It is a futile effort. I think Devm just turned this game around.
I think Devm has the to the last man ability that Penals have, because whenever he loses models, whenever he loses squads, he always seems to actually play stronger. He seems to be more aggressive, get better engagements, wipe more things. This is a common thing that we've seen from him, is whenever you think he would end up losing map control because he's lost squads or he's behind in PopCap, he always just plays even more aggressively and somehow is able to maintain the map control. Talisman down at 13 PopCap compared to the 71 of Devm. He will be rebuilding this IS-2, but I don't know, man. There's already a pack. The Pumas has got the target weak point now. So this IS-2, it might do well, but with such little squads left for Talisman, I think this game is over.
Yeah, it's a very... I think it's kind of an odd decision. It doesn't really have anything to cap with right now. It's not like the IS-2 did well a moment ago. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know why you'd want to replace that unit.
Well, what else would he replace? What else would he build?
Had a worse... I think you'd probably go for maybe just, you know, sink into some Maxims and maybe some kind of indirect fire to just clear snipers and AT guns and stuff. But I just don't think the IS-2 is going to carry the situation for him. I think that's kind of what he's potentially expecting for it, is for it to just carry his entire army. But I would like to see more army before IS-2, always.
The problem
do you think that this is going to be able to beat them?
No, I don't. But I think it's probably the best choice, because the problem is when you're building Vet 0 squads, it's just so much manpower bleed. Against Vet 3 LMG Grands, conscripts are negligible, they won't do anything. Maxims will just get rifle naded and just get forced away from the front. Honestly, when you have 13 PopCap, you can't really do anything. I mean, the IS-2, he can hope for some really crazy RNG and get some cheesy wipes, but doesn't have much going for him. Nice flank with the pack. May get a couple of shots off here and a nice Faust too. Yeah, this game's rough. It all went horribly for Talisman. Another con squad goes down. I think he was just too aggressive. Talisman, he overcommitted. Once he had the IS-2, I think he was looking to get a damage engine on one of those tanks and then commit with the IS-2 and finish it off. But yeah, really well played by Devm. He held on, he kept putting the pressure on, even despite being behind. And as a result, conscripts, they just didn't hold up in the late game against those grenadiers.
Well, I guess we're just waiting for this to finish now. A little bit like I don't want to just call it still, but it's probably going to be Devm if we hadn't have deducted that by now. Yeah. Still, maybe a little too early to click the button.
Click the button. I like how dramatic you made that sound. Which button? There are many buttons.
The
Choose carefully.
Button.
So there's a second pack here. I think that's smart by Devm. The command panzer also makes the packs much harder to decrew. Yeah, also the lack of Molotovs may have worked. In that crucial engagement where the IS-2 went down, the two packs were clumped up. If there was a Molotov, that may have made a big difference there and the IS-2 could have survived. But it's hard knowing when to go Molotovs, because it is actually a lot of manpower, 125. It's almost a T-70 as far as manpower.
Just getting some huge news in, actually, from Army Polizei Funk. Hello, by the way. Theodosis, 2-1 versus Lovenest.
What?
Lovenest is out of the competition.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that's very surprising, if I'm honest. Like, not to say take anything away from Theodosis, who played really well when we saw him last week. But actually, just the fact that it's Lovenest.
I want to cast those games now.
I kind of agree, but you do have to keep up with the front of things. Maybe it's one that we can go back. There's so many great games playing today, really, that we're not going to get a chance to see.
Yeah.
And I hope at least other people in the community are going to pick up some of these replays and cast them and get them up on YouTube. I think we'll probably end up doing some as well. You know, some of the replays casting, because there really are like so many good players playing against each other today. Look at this. How was Devm surviving this situation? Like, even with an engine damage command Panzer IV, he's still somehow managing to try and negotiate his way out of the IS-2's grasp.
Negotiate.
He is. He's negotiating. He's like, please.
The diplomatic approach.
Shot. It is, and there we go. It does go down.
Well, he's abandoned, so I suppose diplomacy worked.
That's the power of negotiation right there.
But he's getting cornered in.
Way overstretched. I don't think we saw the target weak point on. Look at the amount of AT that's coming out from these AT guns with the Panzerschrecks as well. I mean, Panzerschrecks really are a great anti-vehicle measure.
I like them against IS-2s because IS-2 not very good against infantry. The scatter is pretty obnoxious. Against the Pershing, however, the pig runs just get wiped way too easily for them to really be effective. But yeah, against the IS-2, if you can flank it, it's very powerful. Especially you can chase it down, get a few more volleys off.
I wonder at what point it's going to take before Talisman throws in the towel here.
If he lost the IS-2, he probably would have quit, I think.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, he hasn't had territory really for a while now. He's dropped very, very quickly down to less VPs than Devm for the first time this game. So this is where it really starts to dawn, I think, that you may not win this one. You may not even have the chance now. Triple caps on. It's a VP drain per second. So just over 2 minutes of the game left at a triple cap at the moment. Talisman has to do something very, very quickly. I don't think Devm's going to let him.
I like how there's all three pack guns moving around together. And whenever the IS-2 shows up, it's just going to get forced away by 3 packs in the Shreks. Conscripts are completely surrounding this Grenadiers. There's 3 squads against 1, and yet, what, 5 cons go down, part due to the sniper. That's a second Vet 3 sniper. So, Devm's sniper preservation has been really good. He only lost the first one to a demo. Devm is typically a player that always rushes out the sniper and has such a great impact with it. And I really liked how Talisman went for the con spam. I don't know if it was intentional as a counter strategy for the sniper or if it was just his playstyle. But either way, con spam I think is much more effective than penals or maxims against the sniper.
It's such a shame because I do genuinely think Talisman had a good chance of beating Devm here.
Yeah.
I really did feel that from the start, and it was just a bad engagement. It was one bad engagement that was misjudged and he couldn't recover from, and Devm just really took the reins of it. But it is unfortunate, that's just how things go. You can have the best early mid-game and still lose out in the late game, and that is what makes Devm so great. I don't know if you ever feel, by the way, this crane on the right-hand side with the VP. I've always felt like you should be able to get like a garrison in there so that you know, put a sniper on top
like
of the crane
Battlefield
or something.
Yeah. How you would spend 10 minutes climbing up a crane, and then you'll get up there, and then you would miss every single shot because the drop is ridiculous, and then you would eventually get counter-sniped by someone else, and you go, man, that was fun, let's do it again. And
I think it's cool. I think it should be integrated, like
like a lookout tower for the
and...
sniper. Oh yeah, we need more blizzards, more deep snow.
Like
we need all
more
those
deep
things.
snow. And I mean, you could really replace a lot of the map here, all the central area, with
all deep
mud,
snow,
couldn't you?
yeah.
or just a strip of deep snow. Could be anything.
Oh, you know what?
Other games going on at the moment. Do you want to jump into another one? This one is definitely gone now. So well played, Talisman. Very unfortunate. Of course, Devm is going to win that game. I'm fairly sure. At that point, it's going to be Devm game. Question is, now, before we went into that game, actually, I was told by the moderation team that that was the first game. But then again, I saw some people in chat that were saying
Devm
otherwise.
messaged me as well. He
Say,
PM'd me on Steam. Momo vs. Barton hasn't started.
What did Devm say?
Oh, no, he PM'd me on Steam. He said, I hate it's loading. Hang on.
I just want to show everyone the stats for that game as well. 96 kills, 219 losses. Ouch. Well played, Devm. Look, you can graphically see, not that Talisman, because of the 4 conscript build, he wasn't really moving up with the same kind of value as Devm anyway, but you can see the moment where he lost that game.